Hey everyone, Liz Miller, Vice President and Principal Analyst at Constellation Research, coming at you with another CR CX Convo. This time, let's talk about DXPs. Why do I want to talk about a digital experience platform? Really, it's because all of you are talking about DXPs. In fact, they're becoming one of the most hotly discussed and considered topics these days because digital experiences are cropping up everywhere across the organization. We used to be able to centralize them in a single function, right? It might just be the CMO, it might just be the CDO. The reality is today, digital experiences are being crafted and deployed across the entirety of the organization. You might be the CMO, you might be the CDO, you might be the head of service. Everyone is looking for that place, that space, that platform where we can consolidate, optimize, and truly deliver exceptional digital experiences. But don't just take my word for it. I mean, listen, the reason why I want to talk about DXPs is because y'all are, and how do I know? I asked. So, when it comes to the DXP, 70% of CXOs are actually looking at DXPs as a significant implementation really in the coming year. About 1 in 4 actually believe that a DXP is going to be the cornerstone of reaching their success milestones for the year. About 59% believe that the DXP is actually going to modernize their operations. So if you're in marketing and you're the CMO, you're really looking at a DXP that's going to bring all of your tools together, centralize all of those operations, but most importantly, modernize in an age where AI, content, data, everything seems to be going everywhere. How do we begin to harness that and pull that into a working optimized space? 54% though, interestingly, over half are considering the DXP to be something that's going to make a significant impact in their ability to create a growth engine. This isn't just about getting content to move places. This is about having a holistic platform that can be the cornerstone of a growth strategy. Because experienced leaders feel they've got all the pieces now. We've got all of the pieces that we've been waiting for to make sure that we can deliver contextualized, personalized, robust digital experiences that are connected across the entire enterprise to that most important customer of one. DXP really sounds like something that should be able to get us there. Here's the thing. Even though we see it as being critical to success, even though we see it as being this kind of modern marketing, engagement, growth machine, here's why we have to have this chat. There is no single, universally accepted, absolute definition of DXP. And that's what makes this conversation so hard. Listen, my friends at Gartner have a great starting point. And they started with this definition that a DXP is an integrated set of core technologies that support the composition, the management, delivery, and the optimization of contextualized digital experiences. It's a great starting point. And that's a great first step into understanding what that core set of tools is. The reality, though, is not every DXP is the same. You don't get the same laundry list of solutions and tools. You're not going to be able to truly compare side by side, maybe for that top layer of tools. But for the most part, when you say that something is a core group of technologies, the reality is that list gets long, really fast, because a core list of technologies has to actually answer a core business problem. And the reality is today, everyone's core business problem is a little bit different. We're looking to solve different things through our digital experiences. It's not a homogeneous task we're looking to complete. That's why this isn't a ready-made basket. You're not going to get the same thing no matter where you order it from. Now, you're going to be looking at maybe the management of experiences. Maybe you're looking at composable content, optimization. But optimization might mean capacity in 1 minute and the capacity to orchestrate, but it may also be the capacity to personalize. The reality is there are so many different things that go into this list. When I sat down and realized that Constellation needed to develop its own shortlist for DXPs and for digital experience, yeah, it was great that I had a definition to start with, but wow, this list got long, fast. I couldn't even fit all the things on the list in one slide. That tells you how much stuff is in here. So I understand that this is a starting point of what I consider to be the cornerstone of a DXP. Yes, you have to have that CMS. Ideally, it's headless. Ideally, I say, because sometimes organizations really need a hybrid CMS. Sometimes they've still got a whole lot of traditional sites with traditional CMSs that they're dealing with. That's reality, and that's okay. We're really dealing with a broad, expansive group of destinations and delivery presentation layers. It's why it makes this so hard. But the beautiful thing about a DXP is what you should really be able to look at is one that gives you that flexibility, right? It gives you the flexibility to say, okay, you know what? I really need headless. And it gives you that path to easily and quickly move down that path. You might need hybrid, but can you also manage WordPress for enterprise? So there are lots of different solutions out there, but flexibility really is at the core. Not everyone speaks one language. There isn't just one CMS. And that's very true of digital experiences. When you're talking about something being composable, what you're talking about, it's not just being able to move things around, kind of shifting blocks around. It's something that has that decoupled architecture where we're able to keep your content in your presentation layers truly separate so that more presentation layers come on, we got that. So whatever you're dreaming up and whatever you expect your customers to experience, wherever you expect it to appear, you need something that has the flexibility and that has that scalability. It's like that elasticity that brings all of these experiences together. And yes, personalization is key. But to get to personalization, you also need all the journey orchestration and all the analytics, right? All the reporting, you need the governance, you need the security, and you need that data. You need to be able to access data so you can personalize on the fly, contextualize on the fly. You need those AI and ML driven tools because I don't know if you've heard, AI is officially a thing now. So when we expect those tools to not only be able to help our people and deliver these robust recommendations for our customers, it's bi-directional now, right? It's not just about telling your customer the greatest thing that you need them to know about. These systems now talk back to us. Our customers talk back to us. It's dynamic. So where are we getting all of these things? It's one thing to call something a DXP. It's also another thing to understand that there isn't just one flavor of a DXP. And it's also really important to remember, not every DXP is going to be right for the business cases that you're trying to solve. We really are in an age of abundance where we've got a lot of things to choose from. And that brings me to the short list, right? Because if we're going to create a list of what things you need, we also had to create a list of a starting point. Some of the solutions that we say, hey, listen, and I struggled to just get to 9, and you should know that. And I can only say that these are the 9 vendors that I really do think sit at the top of our consideration list, especially for large enterprises. As you start to look at that question, does your organization really need a DXP? You're probably the ones that are going to start looking at this list and hopefully first. You're going to see a lot of the usual suspects on this list. These are folks who have really been honing this craft and really do offer that expansive, rich, robust laundry list that couldn't fit on a slide list of solutions. But you're probably also going to see something on this short list that maybe you weren't expecting, right? So you're going to see the usual suspects, but maybe, you're going to recognize your Adobe. Yeah, you're going to recognize your Acquia. You got HCL. But then I did something. I did something on this list that kind of caught me a little flack. Lots of questions came my way. Some people wanted me to justify something. And you know what? I'm happy to, because there's a non-traditional name on this list right there, Pantheon. And I want to talk to you guys a little bit about it. Okay, so first off, let me be totally transparent about something. It's funny because about a year ago, the team at Pantheon came to me and asked me a really big question. They asked me, are we a DXP? And truth be told, I told them no, you're not. Not only that, but because I just said to them, don't spend a lot of time trying to compete on being a DXP. You don't have to wage the DXP battle. Try to mix it up with a lot of these names that people are going to be really familiar with, and quite frankly, really do tackle those DXP kind of tick marks, tick for tick, because everyone's vying to be a DXP right now. That's right. I mean, I literally told them, just stay in your lane, because in web ops and the things that you do, you actually do them really well, right? And when it comes to Pantheon, this is an organization that knows content. They know delivery. They know performance. They know personalization, they know flexibility, and they know scale. And it was funny because when I had to sit down with all the vendors and kind of get the updates on what everyone was doing and just being blown away by what's happening in DXP right now, I hit a really funny realization. Not every solution is right for everyone, and not every DXP is exactly the same. These are the truths. These are the wake-up calls. The wake-up call that I really got was actually from the user's perspective. Because in a tit-for-tat feature set, and the lists are all different, their common ground is actually in the business problems that each of these customers, everyone's looking to address, especially at that intersection point of content storytelling and optimized experience, right? You got customers and people working in content and in web and in digital. So that's where I came back to Pantheon. Is Pantheon a true traditional DXP? Would I put them in that original lineup? No. But there's something really interesting happening at Pantheon, and I got to learn a lot more about it when I started doing some research and doing a deep dive into them, and I got a chance to talk to their customers. Because, oh boy, the problems that their customers are solving very much fall in line with what customers at other DXPs who are reaching success, who are working with a lot of these traditional DXP vendors. The story sounded awfully similar. I learned this by talking to executives who are part of Constellation's executive network. Also, some customers at Pantheon gave me access to. And when I asked Pantheon customers if they were using Pantheon as just a web ops tool, which they're known for, right? Were they using them for anything else? Were there other use cases they wanted to tell me about? It was always as a digital experience tool. They're using it for content. They were looking at delivery. They weren't just looking at the ops side of things. Their answer was always yes. We're using it for all of it, in fact. They're using the CMS, they're looking at the CDN, they're looking at content performance and optimization, but they're also looking at flexibility and scalability. They're looking at managing massive portfolios of different sites. So many different presentation layers and business applications, engagement applications. There's a customer that I spoke with that was actually struggling without looking at a DXP, without looking at that critical set of tools. They were struggling to actually manage not just hundreds, but thousands of instances of Drupal and WordPress. You need a different platform for that, right? They're not using a single CMS. They're not saying to all of their clients, hey, let's standardize on this one thing. They're juggling. They're juggling across WordPress for Enterprise. These customers needed something very different. And it was something that they found with Pantheon and started to unlock and unleash new business use cases for. And I think that's what the really important thing here is, right? Pantheon's known as the serverless platform, right? And they are truly leveraging open source in a way that's very unique, right? They are actually encouraging their customers to not be held back by licensing, right? Don't stop delivering experiences because of a license or a language or a CMS. In fact, these customers are swimming in a sea of complexity, right? This is a sea of digital experiences that they really need to bring together. But isn't that what a lot of us are dealing with? A lot of us in digital experience are dealing with the reality that for our enterprises, we don't just have one thing. It doesn't fit into one neat set, even if it is a neat set of core technologies and solutions. We have lots of different experiences that make up our digital reality. And we're looking to not only just orchestrate that, but to evolve it, to optimize it, to keep innovating on it. This day of, hey, we're going to deploy the site and that's great. Then we're just going to keep it in maintenance mode, right? Those days are gone. We're looking for that DXP that also has that web ops that gives us the velocity to push things forward, right? We have a real cloud platform that ensures that we've got uptime, scalability, performance, experiences. Our teams are working tirelessly to create content, assets, campaigns, connected journeys. We have to talk about that last mile of delivery. Do we have that serverless open platform that allows us to work within the reality of our digital ecosystem? And for these customers, that answer was yes. It's because this line between web ops and CMS and DXPs, they're all starting to blur. They're not starting to blur because the vendors are starting to blur the line. The lines are blurring because the reality is if you're a marketer, you don't want to just pick out a tool out of the box, right? It sounds great, but we've all been burned by that before. We've all been burned by this idea of we just pluck it out of the box and it all works. In fact, the idea of magically working out of the box, what you want is actually a tool set that you can conform to your business reality and your digital needs. You want to be able to have that rapid, agile implementation. You want to be able to keep moving forward, especially after launch. You want to launch and you want to keep running. You don't want to do that old school, once I launch it, this is it. I've built my pyramid and now I just have to maintain it. It's not today. You want to pick the right tool. You want to pick the right tool for your customer. But interestingly enough, and listen, I can't impress this on you enough. 81% of CXOs say that the top value of a technology that they're looking for, and remember just how many of them are looking at DXPs right now. 81% of CXOs say the top value is the technology fully integrates with their existing tools. And 72% admit that technology has to earn their CIO's seal of approval. So again, when we start to talk about the complexities of what goes into a DXP, we have to be looking at a multitude of factors. We have to be looking at performance. We have to be looking at optimization, and we have to be looking at all those web apps tools. We've got to look at those web ops as not something that's separate that IT just handles. It has to be the starting point of a conversation. Am I loading fast enough? We live in a world where consumers are abandoning experiences because something took an extra second to load. Seconds can determine whether you're ranked highly or not, whether a customer abandons you or not. And none of us want to miss that opportunity for growth because of a second. We want things to be available. We want them to be personalized. We want them to be contextualized. Hey, and in my opinion, these are the 9 tools, right? These are the 9 tools. Yes, including Pantheon. It will absolutely get you there. These are the 9 tools to start looking at. So if you start to continue, you're going to keep going on this path in your investigation of DXPs, ask the hard questions. Ask the hard questions of all 9 of these vendors. Ask your CIO, what are we looking for when it actually comes to the optimization of our digital experiences, right? What does it come to? When we talk about performance, how many sites are we managing? Does this have to do everything? Is this the silver bullet? Is this the Swiss Army knife? Or are we looking to manage across a multitude of content management systems? Do we really need to pull everything into the one master that rules them all? Now, that might be the reality for some organizations, and they are going to get there with an agile and flexible and headless environment. But for those organizations that don't have that, and that's not their luxury, how ready are we to flex and scale for them and because of them? We have to ask the hard questions because at the end of the day, digital experience, whether it's creation, whether it's delivery, and for sure, optimization, it's not easy, but it's absolutely critical for those of us who are looking for a modern growth engine. They're going to steer us into this next year. Because next, when we're here to talk about DXPs, when I'm so confused and maybe keep having a better idea of the next thing that needs to go in them, the most important thing and the most important conversation that you and I need to have isn't about what goes in that critical tool list. I know that sounds crazy, especially for an analyst to say, and I'm all about critical tool lists. But the really important question here is we have to have the answer of what do we need to get out of them, right? What we need to get out of them, the business use case, the management, the reality of what we need. That's what's going to get you picking the right DXP for your enterprise. That is what's going to get you to maybe not think I'm crazy the next time I put some non-traditional names on this list. But happy hunting. Keep those business use cases front of mind and keep asking the tough questions. Till next time.